What's going on? This little aeroplane is pretty awesome. Little Johnny Lightning. Not real sure why I pulled that out, but I did. I'll never be able to put this back on like this. Maybe if I do it like this, I could do it. Can I? Oh. Well, there you have it. Okay, so I grabbed this, not for the trailer, although I like the trailer. That is an articulating, fully functional dump trailer. Pretty cool. I've got it also in white. But I got this hitch and tow for this awesome looking 3/4 ton Cummins diesel Dodge Ram. Very, very nice truck. Really digging the wheels on it. I think this is more of a base model. It's all composite up here. The more premium models, I think, are going to have more chrome. I'm not sure what the trim levels are on the Ram. I know with the Ford, the F-150, you have the XL, the XLT, the Lariat. Then you have different variations like a King Ranch and a Harley Davidson, which I don't know if they still do the Harley Davidson. Greenlight just did the King Ranch, I think, as a dually. But I don't know what the trim levels are on the Ram. But all I know is I really liked the way this one looked. So I went ahead and grabbed it. And in case you're wondering, I have not worked on this diorama in 2 weeks. I know I need to finish it. I have the resin. I know I just need to do it. But I just haven't had time. I've had way too much stuff going on lately. But my plan is, because I know I'm not going to be able to work on it this weekend. I just have too much stuff going on this weekend. Maybe next weekend I can work on it, but my goal is to have it completed by Thanksgiving weekend, by the end of that weekend. That means that next weekend for sure I'll have to dam off both sides so that I can pour the resin, because the resin's going to take at least 24 hours to cure, and the silicone that I'm going to dam it with is also going to take 24 hours to cure. So, but once the resin is poured, the rest of it should go relatively fast. All right, so what else did I get? I did pick up one of these. I was actually kind of surprised to find this one, considering the dump bin had already been rummaged. And somebody scalped all of these, because this was literally the only one. And there was a bunch of new stuff. Like, I was able to get this Unimog, which right now is relatively hard to find. The scalpers are grabbing this one right now. Eventually that'll stop. And eventually this will be an easy one to find. I was surprised also to find this one. What was most surprising about finding this one, though, is the fact that they're still using Zamac to make this casting. When I saw this in the package and I saw this paint, I thought for sure this is a plastic casting, because the base on this is all die cast. But it's definitely a metal casting. The top here is plastic. It's always been plastic, so there's nothing new there. I'm surprised they're still making this, although now it has a spare tire. Originally, this tooling had a motorcycle on the back. Frankly, the spare looks a lot better because the motorcycle, there's no motorcycle big enough to fit on the rear bumper of a Ford Bronco. Maybe a mini bike for a kid, but you're not going to get like a 125 or a 250 up on the bumper of a Ford Bronco. So that's kind of interesting. What I was going to say about this, though, is I don't know why they're still making it, because this, when back in, I want to say it was like around 2002, Hot Wheels had a Final Run series, and they did like, they did the Auburn, they did a Porsche 911, they did quite a few. This is one of the cars that they did in that Final Run. And I thought at that point that what that meant was that the tooling was going to be retired. But yet here we are, all metal. For all of you customizers that have the steady hand, this would be a great casting to customize. The sculpted detail is on point. It's a nice casting. It's the same year as the Racing Champs, 1980. Same body style and everything. So as a customizer, it might be hard to get this level of detail. Although I know there are customizers out there that are capable of making this look as good as those Racing Champions. And maybe better. All right, so there's that. I got these two, which like this one here I hate. I think this is an ugly casting. It's a really nice deco on it. Honestly, it's the staggered wheels and the stance. If it didn't have those huge wheels on the back, I would actually like that one quite a bit. And then this one is kind of the opposite. I like the casting a lot, but I am burnt out on Gulf decos. I do not need any more powder blue and orange. It's just, you know, it's run its course. Some other castings that I acquired. Let me do this. Now, when Greenlight announced this one, it was one of those that, well, let me start with this. When they announced this one, I knew that this was a casting I was going to have. And I like it so much that it is in my Greenlight top three toolings. And that includes all of their toolings. So, my favorite all-time tooling is the Fox body. My number 2 is the Ram Charger, and then this would be my number 3. So I like it that much. And I knew when they announced it that this was one of those castings I was going to get and probably was going to collect. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But this one, when I saw this one, I thought, I definitely won't buy it from the secondary market. Maybe if I find it at Hobby Lobby or something like that and I can get it for $4.80, maybe I'll grab it. And that's exactly what happened here. So this is the 55 Chevy Nomad. It is decent, but in looking at it, it looks like a Racing Champs to me. And I'm not a fan of Racing Champs. So that's kind of a bummer. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look great. Like, where these ones I think look great. These ones I think not so much. Although I have to admit, I feel like Greenlight could have done better with that. Maybe it's just that color. I don't know. So anyways, 55 Nomad does not have an opening hood. It does have the hood ornament, which is part of the casting, which that feature I like. The grill insert, or the grill is an insert. The headlights are inserts. The bumper is a separate piece. On the back, the taillights are inserts. They're not lensed, but they are inserts. And then this window opens. Possibly. So that's kind of cool. So all of the wagons have opening. None of them have opening hoods, but they all have opening. In this case, you have an opening window. In this case, you have an opening tailgate. And in the case of the squareback, you have an opening hatch. It's going to be impossible for Greenlight to sustain the estate wagon series with only 3 toolings. 4 if you count the family truckster, but I don't think we're going to see much more of that casting. So they're going to have to be new wagons coming on down the pike here. And I'm hoping that the next one we see is a Chevy Caprice from a square body, G-body Chevy Caprice wagon from early to mid 1980s. Another piece that I picked up, pretty happy to find, because I do like this truck from M2, especially when it comes with a nice civilian deco like this. Pretty awesome. I might take some weather powder to this and give it a little bit of a weathered look like I did here with the skyline. Undecided on that. If I find another one, I for sure will do that. But that is a pretty nice truck. Now this passenger door is one of the nicest M2 opening doors that I've seen. It's so well lined up and everything. I'm afraid to open it because you just don't know what you're going to get with that. But then again, over here, not so much. It just looks really bad. And this right here is why I'm not a fan of opening doors in this scale. But overall, I like the casting, and I especially like this colorway on it. Alright, so now the big haul. I was supposed to get a box today, but the post office screwed up. They closed it out and said it was delivered in the parcel locker, and I did not get it. So I left a note for the postman. Hopefully I'll be able to get that tomorrow. But I did get another package that came international, so I had to pick this one up from the post office. It is a #1 stunner. So this is Kyosho Series 3 Ferrari. It's the F512M. Foxtrot 512 Mike. It's also known as, it's not also known as, there's a couple different variations. There's the 512 TR, which is the Testarossa, which is mainly what this car is known as. It's known as the 512, but I think more commonly known as the Testarossa. And they have a couple of different variations of this casting. But just to show you guys real quick, take a quick look here. This is the Series 3 Kyosho Ferrari. Um, I'm not. I'm not much of a huge fan of any of these, to be honest, other than this one and the 328 and the 250. I like the Mondial too, actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'm trying to do is collect all of the classic Ferraris. So that would be the 250, the Mondial, the 512, the 328, the 365, and the Dino. This is probably one of the worst Ferrari series that they've done as far as selection of cars goes. All of their castings are amazing. By far the best Ferraris that you can get in 1:64 scale. And I bet you that even when the TLVs come out, these ones here will hold up very, very nicely to the Tomica Limited Vintage. It's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait till those come out. I'll definitely do what I can to grab those. I know they're going to be really hard to get your hands on because everybody's going to want them. But if the Tomica Limited Vintage is nicer than this, then it's going to be a very expensive car. And I got lucky with this. You know, usually when I buy these Ferraris, I don't buy red. But in this case, I felt like I had to get red for the Testarossa. When I think Testarossa, I don't think any other color. I think red. You know, with the F40, I think red. I also think black. And then I bought a yellow one. The 308, I always think red. I guess red is kind of the default color for Ferrari cars. And that is why, if you go on to eBay or Amazon or anywhere, I would never buy a Kyosho from Amazon, but wherever you go to buy your Ferrari, your Kyosho 1:64 scale Ferrari, the red ones are always going to cost more. And it's because they're worth more. People pay more for them. And so it's just the simple economics. But every now and then, if you look, you'll be able to find somebody selling a red one pretty much at the same price as the other colors. Usually, Kyosho releases are available in 3 different colors. Like we saw with this one, it was available in red, silver, and yellow. Now, whatever the silver and yellow ones are selling for on eBay, you can probably add between 30 and 50% for the red one, as a general rule of thumb. I did get lucky, though. I bought this a few weeks back. It shipped from Japan. And I got lucky. I found a seller who was selling the red one. It might have even been a little bit less than the silver and yellow ones that were listed. I just got lucky and scooped it up. So it's a great looking car. I love it. I love the classic Ferrari cars from Kyosho. Every single one of them is a little work of art, including this, which this is a Dino 246 GTS. This one in black. And then this is the Mondial also from the same series as the 512. This one I got in silver. I only have three Ferraris in red. This is one of them. This is the 412, which is a rare GT car. Ferrari didn't make a lot of GT cars in comparison to the sport cars. But this is a very nice, very classy 412 Ferrari. And then we have the F355. This was a very popular Ferrari in the mid-1990s. Great looking car. The stance that Kyosho just, I mean, it's just amazing how the replication quality of their Ferrari cars is very, very high quality. All of these are nice rollers too. With Kyosho, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you're going to get a car that rolls. Sometimes you're going to get a car that doesn't roll at all. Sometimes you'll get a car that rolls a little bit but not very well. This is the F40. Yellow was not my first choice for this car, but it was my least expensive choice, which is why I got it. It is a great looking car though. F40 in yellow. All right, then we have the 275 GTB. This is the third and final red Ferrari. Another great looking classic Ferrari. So all of these cars are transparent lens headlights and taillights, rubber tires, prototypical wheels. So these models are, I mean, they're about as accurate as you can get for the size. You know, the wheels are all specific to the car. Just little works of art. I don't know. I know I repeat myself with this, but they're just amazing cars. And not just the Kyosho Ferraris, but anything Kyosho. I've got a ton of other European Kyoshos and Japanese Kyoshos. It probably should just be Kyosho, even plural. I don't know. But they're all very, very nice, very high quality. The Mazdas look great. The Nissans look great. The Toyotas look great. All of the European stuff looks really good. The Lotus, Jag, BMW. But it's all fairly limited, and, you know, it's only going to get harder to find because they're not making cars. Really, Kyosho has really put the brakes on. They have not put out much diecast in 1:64 scale over the course of the last 12 months. This one here is also one of my favorites. This one might be my favorite. I don't know. It's probably between these two, actually. But I also like the 308 a lot. I just think that it would have to be red for me to really have that proper Ferrari love. This one looks amazing in red too. I'm thinking about getting it in red also. I typically don't like to have two colors of one casting from Kyosho, but I think in the 512 BBI case it might be worth it. Might actually be worth it in the 308 also. There are collectors out there though that will only collect red Ferraris from Kyosho. That's part of why they cost more money. They are more in demand. So, anyways, there you go. That covers it. Just a bunch of awesome 1 to 64 scale Ferrari cars. And they're not as expensive as you might think. Some of them are. I'm not going to lie. Some of them get up there. But, you know, if you just wanted to start a Ferrari collection from Kyosho, start with the Black LaFerrari, because you can get that on eBay for like $8 shipped to your house. And then some of them you can find, buy it now for under $15 with shipping included. And then some of the more desirable models, like the F40, the Testarossa, they can get up, you know, in that 25 to 30 range. But for the most part, I feel like Kyosho are pretty reasonable for what you get. Because there is no other diecast like it, you know, except Tomoka Limited Vintage. But totally different type of tooling catalog. All right, well, thanks for checking it out. You guys have a good rest of your week. I'm hoping I can get that box tomorrow. If I do, I'll try to get a video up tomorrow night. If I don't get that video up tomorrow night, for sure Saturday afternoon or Saturday night I will upload a video, because I have plans on Saturday morning to go to the Toy Pimp's humble abode, and you know how that always goes. So stay tuned for that, and I will holler at you all at the next video.